Let's drop the pretense and get real, brutally real. Most men are stuck on autopilot in the bedroom, recycling the same routines and then wondering why things feel dull or disconnected. The truth? It's not about doing more. It's about doing it better, more intentionally, more consciously, and with deeper connection. There are 5 positions women silently long for, not because they're wild or acrobatic, but because they create the emotional and physical connection she's been craving for years. Here's the reality. Most of what we hear about intimacy, whether from locker room chatter or Hollywood scenes, is performative. It's based on spectacle, not connection. But what women really want is something far more profound. It's not about pushing physical limits, it's about unlocking emotional depth. One of the most powerful and overlooked positions is actually one of the simplest. Face-to-face, full contact intimacy. Whether it's missionary with her legs wrapped around you, or a seated straddle with both of you looking directly into each other's eyes, this is where real connection happens. It's raw, it's vulnerable, and it's unforgettable. Why? Because eye contact in these positions isn't optional, it's central. And when you hold that gaze, something shifts. It's not just physical anymore, it becomes psychological, emotional, even spiritual. According to science, prolonged eye contact triggers the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It also activates mirror neurons in the brain, allowing her to literally feel what you feel. That's not just chemistry, it's alchemy. Most men unknowingly avoid these positions, not because they're ineffective, but because they're too intimate. They demand your full presence. You can't hide behind performance. You can't check out. You have to be all in, emotionally, spiritually, physically. But when you show up fully, when your breath matches hers, when your focus is total, something incredible happens. Her body opens up, her guard comes down, and the connection becomes unforgettable. That's the real secret. That's what she's been begging for silently all along. There comes a moment in intimacy when a woman stops performing and starts feeling. Her guard drops, her breath deepens, and something shifts. She no longer holds back. She's not just participating, she's present. Fully. Emotionally, physically, spiritually. This is the kind of experience women long for. Not just physical connection, but the kind of surrender that only comes when she feels completely seen and completely safe. And yet, very few men ever guide her to that place. What most men don't realize is that pleasure for a woman doesn't begin with the body. It begins with presence, with trust, with a kind of leadership that doesn't dominate but invites. You don't need perfect words or a perfect body. What you need is to feel her, to let her know through your energy, your gaze, your rhythm, that she is not being used but deeply valued. Your silence can speak volumes. Your eyes can whisper safety. When you're tuned in, when you're not rushing, not trying to impress, not chasing an outcome, she feels it, she remembers it, her body responds to it. Here's the mistake most men make. They confuse passion with speed. They think harder and faster means more intense. But for women, true intensity comes from alignment, not aggression. The right position doesn't rely on outrageous acrobatics. It depends on rhythm, flow, and emotional attunement. Whether she's on top, slowly rocking to the rhythm you set with your hands on her hips, or whether you're behind her, guiding each movement with care and intention, the difference is in your presence, in how you lead the moment. Are you rushing to the finish line, or are you listening to her breath, adjusting to her energy, letting the experience unfold? Neuroscience backs this up. A woman's arousal is responsive, not automatic. Her desire is built moment by moment, with rhythm, pressure, and emotional connection. Fast thrusts may create sensation, but slow, deep, deliberate movements create pleasure. Deep pleasure, the kind that lingers in her mind long after the moment ends. True intimacy is not about how long you last, it's about how deeply you connect. The man who understands this knows that power isn't just in dominance, it's in patience. It's in restraint. It's in tuning into her and letting her body guide you just as much as you guide her. So when you find that rhythm, not just physical but emotional, everything changes. She stops resisting, her mind stops wandering, her heart opens. And in that moment, you're not just someone she had a night with. You become a man who created an experience, a memory, something sacred. Forget the myths. Forget the pressure. Lead with sensitivity, with intention, with presence. That's the man she remembers. That's the man she craves. It's not about how fast he moved, but how deeply present he was in each slow, intentional moment. That's what she remembers. That's what her body and soul crave. A truth many men fail to realize is that women are not afraid of dominance. They are afraid of unsafe dominance. And that single misunderstanding creates a major disconnect in intimacy. Far too often, men equate dominance with aggression. They think being in control means taking over completely or acting with force. But in reality, the kind of dominance women desire is rooted in protection, not power plays. What they truly crave is a man who knows how to lead without demanding submission, a man whose strength invites her to soften, not shrink. This is the essence of the power surrender position, one that most women fantasize about but rarely experience. Not because it's complex, but because most men never understand its emotional depth. It's not about pinning her down or asserting force. It's about creating a space where she can willingly release control, where she feels not just touched, but truly held, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Whether she's beneath you, her body curled softly under yours, or her wrist gently held as your breathing sinks, the position itself is only part of the equation. What matters more is the energy. It's not about force, it's about focus. It's not about being rough, but being grounded. She wants to feel that you are not just physically present, but emotionally anchored, that you are there with her, not just on her. Neuroscience confirms this too. When a woman feels emotionally and physically safe, her parasympathetic nervous system is activated, the part responsible for relaxation, trust, and openness. That's when real intimacy begins. That's when she stops overthinking, stops holding her breath, stops wondering if she looks right. She is simply in it, deeply, freely, completely. Your hands in that moment aren't about controlling her, they're about containing her emotions. Your voice isn't there to command, but to calm. She longs for a place where she doesn't have to lead, protect, or pretend. A space where she can fully lean into her femininity because your masculinity is steady enough to hold it. When you provide that space, you unlock a side of her most men never see. This is where true polarity exists. Your strength allows her to release. Your presence invites her to trust. It's not about domination, it's about devotion. It's not a performance, it's presence. And when you reach this level, every position, even the often misunderstood arching bridge, becomes less about visual stimulation and more about internal impact. That angle, that depth becomes a channel for connection, not conquest. Because the greatest pleasure isn't found in friction, it's found in feeling. And when a man masters this, he touches not just her body, but her soul. It's not that men can't give women what they deeply desire, it's that they often move too fast, missing the subtle cues that unlock true intimacy. The secret isn't found in force or friction, but in slowing down, becoming intentional, and truly understanding the power of connection. Take, for example, a position where her hips are gently tilted upward, her pelvis slightly elevated, and her spine forming a delicate, sensual curve. Most overlook it, rushing right past its potential. But when done right, with presence, care, and control, something extraordinary happens. This angle does more than shift physical alignment. It taps into a deeper energetic flow. It grants access to the anterior wall of the vaginal canal, a place rich with nerve endings, emotionally charged and deeply responsive. These nerves are connected not just to the body, but to the heart, the mind, even the soul. This isn't just about physical pleasure, it's about awakening her entire being. In this position, she doesn't feel like a body being used, she feels like a woman being seen, felt, honored. When you move with slow precision, when you match her breath, look into her eyes and hold her with steady hands, you send her a clear message. I'm here with you, not just inside you. And that's what most men miss. It's not about harder or faster, it's about deeper and truer. The slower the pace, the more attuned you become. Your breathing, your hips, your hands, all in harmony with her rhythm. When that happens, her nervous system relaxes, her mind quiets, and her heart opens. She no longer feels like she has to perform. She simply melts into the experience. The truth is, few men ever reach this level of connection because they're focused on outcomes instead of the moment. But for those who do, they create memories etched not in the body, but in the soul. Now consider the side lock, a position most men don't even think about. It's not flashy, not acrobatic. You won't see it glorified in movies or magazines, but for many women it's the most emotionally satisfying of all. Two bodies curled in perfect symmetry, legs tangled, one arm cradling her head, the other around her waist. No thrusting, no pressure, no chasing, just being. This position removes the need to impress and replaces it with presence. The closeness triggers oxytocin, the hormone of bonding, trust, and love. Her walls drop, her breath slows, and her pleasure deepens. Not from sensation alone, but from feeling safe, seen, and cherished. And in that stillness, her arousal rises, not from tension, but from surrender. When you hold her this way, not to perform, but to connect, you become more than just a partner. You become her anchor. You don't need to prove anything. You simply need to be. And that, more than anything, is what she's been begging for. There are certain intimate positions that women silently long for, not because they're wild or acrobatic, but because they create emotional safety, deep connection, and real presence. One such position isn't about performance or dominance. It's where vulnerability meets desire, where she can speak, laugh, whisper, and feel seen. In that space, it's not about how good you look or how skilled you are. It's about how deeply she feels. She doesn't beg for it with words, but her body remembers it, craves it, and quietly asks for it again. When you offer her your full attention and your calm, grounded presence, everything changes. These 5 positions women beg for aren't based on flashy moves or control. They're built on understanding, trust, and emotional depth. The man who embraces that truth becomes more than a lover. He becomes a safe place, a man she can surrender to fully. So stop chasing validation through performance. Start building intimacy through presence. In a world of men chasing pleasure, be the one who creates meaning. That's the kind of man who's not just remembered, but deeply desired. Let's redefine intimacy. Drop a comment. Where did you feel the deepest connection?